EA Sports.
Electronic Arts is a name that has been in gaming longer than some of us have been alive. They are one of the giants of gaming. FIFA, Battlefield, The Sims are just names of titles that redefined the entire industry. But there is another side to EA, one that's less about celebration of gaming and more about, well, let's call it collateral damage. Today, we're talking about the victims of Electronic Arts, not the player who suffered through exploitative microtransaction, not the developers who crouched through deadlines, but the studios, the creative powerhouses that EA acquired, absorbed, and far too often closed down. Sometimes lines are blurred and we tend to forget time heals all wounds, right? Yes, but it leaves scars and some of them never stop itching. Many have casted doubts about the past, only remembering recent and growing pains. Well, today I'm here to remind you, Blizzard,
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Bethesda,
Yeah, there they are.
Oh!
No, Mr. Howard!
Good catch, buddy.
Ubisoft,
Did they have bicycles back then?
These magical devices, we will destroy the Takeda clan.
They had this? Oh. Beat them. Did this happen?
they all bear their faults. However, none of them ever came close to the damage Electronic Arts did to gaming, and I can prove it. This isn't a story of one or two missteps. It's a pattern stretching back decades, with a body count of at least 28 studios, maybe more, depending on how you slice it. And it's not just history. There are studios under EA umbrella right now that might be staring down at the same fate. It all began in 1982. EA was born under Trip Hawkins, a guy who wanted to treat game developers like rock stars. Software artists, those are just some of the names he threw at them. And for a hot minute, EA lived up to the hype, publishing bold, creative games that pushed boundaries. But by the 90s, something happened and EA started to change from within. They weren't just making games, they were buying the people who did. Expansion is a natural course of capitalism. It's not hard to see why. Everyone does it. A studio with a hit IP like Ultima or Syndicate was a golden ticket. EA sales pitch was simple.
Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy.
Join us. Get our resources, our marketing, our muscle. It sounds like a dream, right? Well, except for a lot of those studios, it was more like signing a deal with the devil. And they didn't realize until it was too late. EA didn't just want the games, they wanted control, they wanted creative control. They thought that they knew better than the creators, that under their wise leadership, they could drive profits higher and higher than ever. And when their iron fist grip tightened, they would squeeze those studios for all they could produce. And when it didn't suit them, they would just pull the plug without a second thought. No respect for creativity, art, or even the honest work of hundreds of employees. This section isn't about the closures yet, it's about the mindset. EA became an empire, this is undeniable. And empires don't collect resources, or in this case studios, out of charity or goodwill. They want assets, IP, and, more importantly, results, called hard money. It's the thread that ties every single victim together. Westwood, Origin, and Bullfrog. One of the first victims of EA was Origin Systems, the founding fathers of RPG computer gaming, led by Richard Garriott. They were the makers of the Ultima series, a name that sadly had long fallen in obscurity since then. And, of course, Wing Commander, one of the early trailblazers in the space fighting games genre. EA scooped them for 35 million in 1992. A bargain, right? First it seemed fine, Origin kept churning out games, but then Electronic Arts started to tighten the screws. They pushed Origin to rush Ultima 8 2009, ignoring Garriott's warning about quality. The result, well, it was for all to see. Buggy releases that turned away fans and tanked the series and the studio's reputation. Ultima Online was a hit, yes, but Electronic Arts saw dollar signs and forced Origin to focus solely on online games and cancelled projects like Ultima Online 2. This mistake was critical and deadly, and by 2004 Origin had been run into the ground. Did Electronic Arts take responsibility or rescue the studio by giving them a second chance? No, of course not. It doesn't end there, however. Another victim was Bullfrog Productions, founded in 1987 by Peter Molyneux. Those guys invented the god game genre with Populous, Syndicate, Dungeon Keeper. Bullfrog was a hit maker factory. Electronic Arts bought them in 95 and Molyneux stuck around for a little bit, but because of Electronic Arts meddling, pushing for more accessible sequels and rushing deadlines, the studio was sapped of all talent and energy. Projects like Dungeon Keeper 3 got canned, and by 2001, Bullfrog was merged into Electronic Arts UK. Poof, gone, all of a sudden. Like it was never there at all. And then, of course, we cannot forget about one of the most important studios that Electronic Arts shut down, Westwood. The makers of one of the most beloved RTS series in the world. Another property that had been mismanaged and run into the ground. Naturally, I am talking about Command & Conquer. Founded in 1985, Westwood created the real-time strategy genre with Doom 2. By 98, they were raking in millions. Electronic Arts bought them for 122.5 million, but the honeymoon was short-lived. Electronic Arts rushed Command & Conquer Renegade, a very risky spin-off, an FPS, and when it flopped, they didn't even give Westwood a chance to recover. This is typical of Electronic Arts. You have a studio that is good at making something and it's always get pushed into something that they are not either comfortable or have experience in it. By 2003, Westwood was closed, merged into Electronic Arts Los Angeles. The team that defined a genre erased. Just imagine if Electronic Arts didn't meddle at all in Westwood, what bright future RTS would have enjoyed. If you thought that 90s were bad, somehow the early 2000s got much worse. Electronic Arts decided to chase trends like a dog after a squirrel or a frisbee. Social gaming was hot back then. Think Facebook's Farmville era. And of course, Electronic Arts wanted a piece of that pie. The first developer studio, PlayFish, founded in 2007. They made hits like Pet Society and Restaurant City. Well, it got bought by Electronic Arts in 2009 for the extravagant number of 400 million, and they slapped their IP into The Sims Social and Madden NFL Superstars, and well, it didn't work. Moreover, social gaming bubble didn't last that long, and by 2013, PlayFish was shut down. Then, of course, there is Victory Games, a short-lived experiment. It was formed in 2010 specifically to revive Command & Conquer. They were tasked with Tiberium Alliances, a free-to-play browser game. Yeah. By 2013, EA pulled the plug, closing Victory Games and cancelling a Command & Conquer reboot. This is sickening, but regardless. And let's not forget about Mythic Entertainment. Founded in 95, they pioneered MMOs with Dark Age of Camelot. Electronic Arts bought them in 2006, hoping to compete with World of Warcraft. Warhammer Online launched with a decent number of players, but it struggled to sustain them. By 2009, Electronic Arts merged Mythic with BioWare, renamed them BioWare Mythic, and in 2014, shut them down again. Their final project, a mobile Dungeon Keeper remake. These closures felt different than before because this time it was Electronic Arts. Direct meddling, chasing fads, social games, free-to-play, mobile. And when those trends started to slow down, all those studios, well, that came too late to the party, they were gone. It's like Electronic Arts didn't care about their potential, just a quick buck. It's quite impressive the acceleration that Electronic Arts took in the worst direction possible. Instead of self-reflecting or changing their ways, they doubled down, learning nothing, of the open graveyard they left in their wake in the previous decade. Maxis Studios, the guys behind Spore, SimCity and The Sims, they were bought in '97, and for a while they did amazing. The Sims was a gold mine, but by 2015, Electronic Arts shut down Maxis Emeryville, the studio's main hub, and after SimCity 2013 disastrous launch. Sure, the always online requirement of that game was extremely problematic, especially at that time. But did Electronic Arts take responsibility? Nah, of course not, they just axed the studio. The shutdown of Visceral Gaming is one that hurt people the most, especially fans of the Dead Space franchise. Electronic Arts Redwood Studios, they became Visceral in 2008 after Dead Space, a horror game that proved Electronic Arts could still take risk. It was a massive success and created a cult classic of the horror genre. They followed with Dead Space 2 and Battlefield Hardline, but by 2017, they were working on a single-player Star Wars game under Amy Hennings. Sounds incredible, right? Well, Electronic Arts didn't think so. They cancelled it, claiming single players weren't profitable anymore. This is extremely ironic, considering that not too long after, Jedi Fallen Order proved them wrong entirely. But by then, the damage was done. There was no recovery. Visceral was shut down in 2017, leaving fans gutted and Dead Space future in limbo until a remake years later. Ridgeline Games, their story is even shorter. It was formed in 2021 to craft a Battlefield campaign. They were led by Marcus Leto, co-creator of Halo. But in 2024, just 3 years in, Electronic Arts closed them down after Leto's departure. Some stuff was moved to other studios, but Ridgeline's barely a blip. But don't worry, because the list is not over yet. There are others. NuFX, a sport games developer, was bought in 2004 and closed down in 2007 after working on NBA Street. Headgate Studios, a golf game specialist, became Electronic Arts Salt Lake in 2006, was given the task to pivot to mobile and was shut down in 2017. Waystone Games, formed to make a MOBA game called Downgate, was axed in 2014, when MOBAs stopped being the next big thing. This era has been brutal, and it shows Electronic Arts hasn't changed. Whether it's a legacy studio or a new one, they don't care. The axe is always ready, and the Reaper just doesn't care who is gonna be the next victim. So, who is next? Well, this is the past. What about now and the future? Because if you got this far in the video and still have doubts that Electronic Arts won't shut down any studio when it suits them, I am really sorry. Electronic Arts still got heavyweights. We're talking about BioWare, DICE, Respawn, but things aren't going the way that Electronic Arts wants. The first studio in danger is BioWare. Yeah, the Mass Effect and Dragon Age folks. They're not dead yet, but they are on life support. Electronic Arts got its finger on the plug, most likely. We cannot be completely sure of this, but we can just trust our own eyes. They cannot afford to not meet Electronic Arts' success metric any longer, or they're gonna go the way of the dodo. BioWare has been with Electronic Arts since 2007. It was part of the $860 million pandemic deal. They had its, of course, great games like Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age Origin. But the last decades for them has been quite rough. Mass Effect Andromeda launched in 2017. 2 memes about broken faces and buggy quest.
Alright, what happened?
To who?
To whom? And your goddamn father. Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
Electronic Arts' response to that, they shut down BioWare Montreal, the branch that made it, and put Mass Effect on ice. Then we have, of course, how could we forget about Anthem? In 2019, a live service gamble that crashed harder than a dropship with no thrusters. Fans hated it, critics panned it, and BioWare reputation never recovered. It's not over, however. Fast forward to 2024, Dragon Age The Veilguard. It was supposed to be BioWare's big comeback, right? Except it wasn't. It sold 1.5 million units. It was half of Electronic Arts' expectation. Critics' reviews were solid, but sales don't lie. What was Electronic Arts' reaction? Layoffs, restructuring, and moving staff to other studios. BioWare is down to under 100 employees from over 200 of 2 years ago. They're working on Mass Effect 5, allegedly, but if that flops, I wouldn't bet on Electronic Arts to give them another shot. Why is BioWare so vulnerable? It's quite simple. They are a single-player RPG studio into an Electronic Arts obsession with live service cash cows like Apex Legends and EA Sports FC. Electronic Arts pushed them to chase trends, Anthem's multiplayer, Veilguard action-heavy gameplay. It took away from what made BioWare special. Furthermore, and this is probably the key reason, you need to consider that for years there has been mismanagement in BioWare. Dragon Age 4 was rebooted twice, and it's no wonder that they're struggling. However, they're not alone. DICE, the Battlefield crew, is another question mark. Battlefield 2042 was a disaster at launch in 2021, and while they patched things up, they lost a lot of trust in their core audience. Electronic Arts already closed Ridgeline, a Battlefield support studio, and if the next Battlefield doesn't deliver, well, DICE could face cuts, of course, or even worse. At this moment, Respawn is safer, thanks to Apex Legends that is making billions. But even then, they are not bulletproof. And if for some reason Apex revenue dips, well, you already know what is gonna happen. The point is, no studio is untouchable. Electronic Arts has no loyalty neither to the customers or their employees. It's all about profit. And when the numbers don't add up, they got a track record of swinging the axe. Will Electronic Arts ever stop?
No. Wait.
So, why do they keep doing this? Is it greed, stupidity, or a mix of both? Or just the way that games are played? First of all, you must never forget, for Electronic Arts is all about the IPs. They don't buy studios for the value of their employees. They want franchises. Stuff that they can package and sell, tailored to whatever their current head of marketing says. This is why they keep meddling in projects. Ultima, Battlefront, Dead Space, those are just money maker. They don't care what they produce as long as it doesn't generate too much controversy. And even then, they are willing to take the controversy if the paycheck is high enough. Another element to not forget, of course, the shareholder trap. Electronic Arts is a public company, and well, Wall Street doesn't care about Dungeon Keeper's legacy. They want more sales. Studios get one shot to prove they're worth the investment, and if they miss it, well...
All right, out back.
No, Ma. Yeller's my dog. I'll do it. Oh, come on. He'll call back.
Never mind that some games take time to become perfect, or that not every title needs to be as big as FIFA. The problem is in Electronic Arts corporate culture. This is where the main problem is. Creativity thrives on freedom. It's not something that can be created by a committee that sit around and think, look at graphs and decide what is popular or not, or that certain changes will lead to mass appeal or mass rejection. It's like they buy artists, then hand them a paint-by-number kit. The result? Burnout, employees quit, departures, and closures. But here is the worst part. Electronic Arts is doing amazing, better than ever. Do not let anyone tell you that they're struggling. Apex Legends, Madden, FC, they are printing cash like there is no tomorrow. Every studio they close is nothing to them. It's a gain in their balance sheet. The victims are of course the developers that lose their jobs, the fans that lose their franchises, the gaming sector that becomes stale as a whole. This is not malice. They don't do this because they're evil. For them, this is a business. You must never forget, even when they appeal to you, this is all about cash. They don't care about the players and they don't care about anything. If they could sell cocaine legally inside their game, they would do it. Absolutely. Electronic Arts has shut down at least 28 studios since the 1990s. Origin, Bullfrog, Westwood, Pandemic, Maxis, Visceral. The list goes on and on. Each one had talent, vision and fans. Each one was squeezed out like toothpaste and thrown in the trash. The good news? The industry is bigger than Electronic Arts. The bad news? Every major publisher carried their own share of bad. From Nintendo crackdown against fan games, Bethesda bizarre franchise decisions, Sony obsession with imposing a PlayStation Network account, and Ubisoft and Square Enix NFT push are just some of the events that will be forever remembered in infamy, or at least I hope so. In a market such as this, it's only a matter of time until another name is added to that list. Thank you for watching, and what's your take about this? Drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. This was not a topic I did enjoy covering that much, because it brings back memories and makes you think, what if all those studios weren't destroyed that way? Think about how many good games they could have produced, and it's quite depressing, frankly. Regardless, have a good day and see you.